YouTube fitness is a mess. Most creators are either on gear lecturing you about hard training and perfect diet, or they're drowning you in science-based nonsense about optimal tempo or mind-muscle connection. I used to be skinny, thinking that I was genetically cursed and I cannot be strong or jacked. I was training 5 to 6 times a week, following these complicated programs with 20 different exercises, and still made zero progress. But then I figured out what actually works. I switched to the basics. I trained 3 times a week. I started eating properly, and in 1 year my body completely transformed. I built muscle, I gained strength, and I actually grew 2 to 3 centimeters from eating properly and fueling my body. And I finally filled out my clothes and felt more confident. So today I'm going to show you 4 of the biggest lies you've been taught about building muscle, so you stop actually wasting time on these bullshit programs and start making real progress and see actual results. We will cover why complicated programs are keeping you weak, why you are not actually eating as much as you need, why your genetics are not the problem and are not the reason why you are still small, and why training more days isn't going to make you bigger. So the first thing is, I need complicated programs to build muscle. When I started my fitness journey, I was training 5 to 6 times a week with these complicated programs that you see online, which are 5 different exercises per muscle group with 4 sets by 12. And I kept doing them but did not see any real results. There was a ton of volume, a ton of sets. I was trying to isolate every single muscle in my body, and I was trying to feel the mind-muscle connection with every single exercise I did. And I switched between many different programs, but none of them actually got me the results I wanted. These programs are designed for people who are in gear, who play by completely different rules. They recover differently and they can do more sets and more volume and actually get stronger and build muscle. You don't need 6 different exercises per muscle group, and you don't need to isolate every single muscle in your body. What you actually need to do is focus on the main compound lifts, which are squat, deadlift, dip, overhead press and rows. If you want to build actual muscle and actual strength, you only need these exercises, and you need to train 3 times per week, focusing on progressive overload, which means adding weight to the bar every single session. That's one of the most important things if you want to build muscle naturally. So when I met my personal trainer at the gym, that's exactly what he did to me. He told me that I should stop training 5 to 6 times a week. I should just start training 3 times a week and focus on compound lifts while adding a bit of isolation work at the end, but focus on adding weight to the bar every single training session. And that's exactly how I got stronger and bigger. So if you're still following these programs who are made for people with steroids, it's not really your fault. You just need to switch your training. You don't need to isolate every single muscle, and you don't need to hit your muscle from every angle. My second point is that you're thinking that you're eating enough. I thought that I was eating enough. I thought that eating high calorie meals like eating burgers, eating pizzas, eating a ton of processed food is going to actually get me bigger and stronger. But the only thing that happens when you do these things is that you gain body fat. The other thing is that I was not eating consistently, which is one of the biggest reasons why you might not be growing, because you're not eating as consistently as you should be. So when I met my trainer, I finally understood how much I should be eating, and that I should really be consistent with it, because that is where your body gets fueled up for the training, for the heavy lifts that need to be done. So when I actually started eating properly, I gained strength, I added weight to the bar every single session, and I actually grew 2 centimeters taller from just fueling my body with the proper nutrition. And of course I gained size and strength. So one of the biggest things that might be stopping you is not eating properly and not eating enough high quality single ingredient food. You don't have to eat clean 100% of the time, but 90% of the time you should be following your diet plan so you can fuel your body properly for the upcoming training days. But 10% of the time, of course, you can eat your favorite snack, for example. The third thing is that you believe that your genetics are the reason why you're not getting strong and why you cannot get strong. I genuinely thought that I could not get strong at the start of my fitness journey because I did not really progress, and I just thought I'm not made to lift heavy weight. I thought that just the more jacked guys are more genetically gifted from me, they had better potential than me. But that was not actually true. And probably with you, your genetics are completely fine. The only thing that is stopping you from achieving that is that you don't have the proper training and diet plan. Your genetics are most likely fine unless you have some medical condition. The real problem is bad advice, wrong training and not eating enough. And when I started focusing on compound lifts, training 3 times a week and following my diet every single day, that's when I actually got results and got stronger and bigger. I'm not anymore special. I don't have amazing genetics. I just got strong because I followed the right system. The fourth point is thinking that you need more training days, and more training days equals building more muscle. I used to think that more training equals more growth. I was training 5 to 6 times a week, doing tons of sets, doing tons of reps, but I still did not grow. I did not give my body the time to recover from the hard training, so that's why I was stuck. When I met my trainer and he told me to start lifting only 3 times a week, at first I was a bit skeptical, but then I decided to give it a try. So then he explained to me that muscle grows when you're recovering, meaning when you're not in the gym, meaning when you're sleeping and when you're eating. So training more does not mean more muscle. Then I switched to training 3 times a week with less sets, with heavier weights, and that's when I actually started seeing real results. I got stronger every single week, I gained muscle, and I feel a lot better because I was actually recovered. So 3 sessions per week is completely enough for natural lifters. You stop following these complicated programs, you start training 3 times a week, focusing on increasing the weight on the bar. And if you actually start eating high quality single ingredient whole foods instead of eating a lot, if you stop blaming your genetics when they're not a problem, and if you realize that training more days isn't equal to getting more muscle, you will transform your physique, and I guarantee if you stay consistent, you will build more muscle and you will get stronger. I practice what I preach, and I've helped multiple guys do the same. Build muscle, get stronger, feel more confident and fit better in their clothes. So if you want to achieve the same, you can book a call with me. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.